Interesting.
Hi everyone. Hello to everyone out there in the public. My name's Brian Harvey, and I used to be the lead singer for the pop group E17. Over the past 3 years, my life has become very, very difficult due to other people meddling in my life and trying to make me look like I'm mad.
Don't step to me, mate! I give you your order. Get out here, now!
I'm just going to report you to the police.
That red dot is from my table. John Major done it! It's Scotland Yard, mate! You're the ones that are acting illegal!
And they've made Brian a prisoner of his own home, and it's really sad because I know what Brian's doing is the right thing.
And then the next thing, me and my friend Mick are going to Hull with Bill Maloney and Chris Fay to interview an Operation Fernbridge witness called Andrew Ash. Now, Andrew Ash is someone that used to be handled by Jimmy Savile. Sorry, that's my stomach rattling. I haven't eaten properly for days because these people got me trapped in my house, which is why I'm making this video.
Hello everyone, how you doing? You alright? We have an incredibly deep, dark and unexpected rabbit hole to explore today. From the highs of a world famous pop star to the lows of screaming at security guards in a benefit office, powerful satanic child exploitation rings, feuds with celebrities, police raids and jacket potatoes. This story has a lot to go over, so let's start at the beginning. Brian Lee Harvey was born on the 8th of August 1974 in Walthamstow, East London. As a teenager he worked as a plumber's assistant, but his life would change forever when a young man named Tony Mortimer got a record deal, but was told that he had to form a group in order for the deal to go ahead, and started to recruit people from his local area in East London. Brian was at first to be a backing singer in the newly forming boy band, but it soon became apparent that his R&B influenced vocal style and good looks would be the perfect fit as the lead singer. The band consisted of Tony Mortimer, Brian Harvey, John Hendy and Terry Caldwell, with the band's name East 17 being taken from the postcode that the four young men lived in. Tony later said that he stole the marketing for the band from New Kids on the Block, but thought that they could do it better as New Kids on the Block were not from the streets like they were. Tony had become friends with well-known music manager Tom Watkins, who took the band on, and using his connections overnight, East 17 were in the charts with their first song, House of Love. The early 90s in Britain was a time of well-polished pop groups, so the bad boy branding of East 17 attracted a legion of teenage girls who loved them, and just like that they were superstars. Brian was the heartthrob of the band, with Tony being the songwriter, and the other two kind of making strange shapes in the background, trying not to mess up the golden ticket that they had been handed. East 17 would feed from a rivalry with fellow boy band Take That, which always gave them good publicity, so they grew from strength to strength, pumping out hit after hit for the next few years. But sadly, as time went by, the cracks started to appear. In 1994, the tension in the band was starting to reach breaking point. Brian felt that he was not getting enough money as he was the main attraction, but Tony was the one getting paid the most as he was the songwriter. Plus, Brian didn't like pop music and resented being forced to sing this style. He wanted to be an R&B bad boy, but the record company wouldn't allow this as they were making good money with things the way they were. The band were also angry with Brian as he would always oversleep, which led to them missing flights, and he was very demanding, being quoted to say, "I am this band, without me it would be nothing." Brian and manager Tom really didn't like each other either, but we'll be exploring this later on in the video. In late 1994, things took a swing up when they released a song called Stay Another Day, which Tony had written about his brother who died. Due to the release date, the record company decided to make this a Christmas song, which went to #1 in the charts and has forever been on a rotation of Christmas songs in Britain ever since. The band were riding high, going on world tours and loved by millions of people. Plus, Brian had a famous girlfriend named Daniela Westbrook, who was a well-known actress at the time, and the pair became a power couple. East 17 was so well known that they appeared on Jim Will Fix It. This is called foreshadowing. What goes up must come down, and unfortunately for Brian, his life would change again on the 15th of January 1997. The band was still doing well well on promoting a new single called Hey Child, which was number 3 in the charts, when Brian was ordered to do an interview with a reporter. Bandmate Tony Mortimer had previously made some comments about ecstasy, so the reporter asked Brian what his thoughts were on the drug, to which he talked about how he had done 12 pills in one night and had a fun time. The moment passed with Brian not really thinking too much about this. Then the next day the story was being played on radio stations up and down the country, and soon it was front page news. 2 years earlier, a young lady named Leah Betts had passed away from taking ecstasy, which shocked Britain, and this was still fresh in the minds of everyone, so the comments made by Brian would now become big news. So big in fact that it was addressed in the Houses of Parliament by Prime Minister John Major. The press could smell blood in the water, and like piranhas they would start to pick Brian apart with headline after headline. The band were then dropped from TV appearances, and 14 radio stations banned their records from being played. Journalists and politicians are seemingly cut from the same cloth, so they started to pile in on Brian in the Houses of Parliament, and soon the whole country was against him.
I spoke to a 12-year-old schoolgirl in my constituency, and she said that she will be taking down the posters of East 17.
When they say to young people, as Mr. Harvey did, if it makes you feel better and gives you something to do at the weekend and you go out and have a good time, I don't see why not, man. Because life's too short, you know what I mean, man.
The picture was painted that Brian was trying to convince teenage girls to take ecstasy, and with the shadow of Leah Betts looming large, this meant that he wanted to kill your daughter. Manager Tom Watkins put out an apology to the press, and Brian went on live TV to say sorry, but this felt half-hearted, as just days before he was talking about how much fun the drug was, but now he didn't like it so much. Brian Harvey was now public enemy number 1, and the politicians started to call for Brian to be arrested for encouraging people to commit a crime.
'Tis indeed an offence for a person to incite another to commit an offence under the Act.
The Crown Prosecution Service then got involved and started to threaten the whole band with being arrested. Tom and Tony already didn't like Brian, so this was just the excuse they needed, and they decided to kick him out of the band. A letter was signed by all of the band members and delivered to Brian's house. In later interviews, Tom Watkins seemed over the moon with this, as him and Brian really didn't get on, and this was just what he needed to get rid of an annoyance out of his life. In total, East 17 sold over 18 million albums worldwide.
The lead singer of the pop group East 17 paid the price tonight for saying ecstasy was safe in a radio interview yesterday. Although Brian Harvey later said sorry, that wasn't enough for the other members of his group. Tonight they sacked him.
Brian being sacked seemed to ease the need for blood, and soon the talk of criminal charges faded away. But the ill will between Brian and manager Tom would linger for many years after. Brian mostly blamed Tom for the way that he was treated in this time period, and the pair's already frayed relationship was now in tatters. But the show must go on, so Tony took over the role of lead singer in the band, and the remaining trio tried to carry on as normal. Brian was still on good terms with Terry and John, who also didn't like Tom very much, so they worked in the background to try and get Brian back into the band. But it was Tom and Tony who were the main players now that Brian had been cooed from his position, so they were fighting an uphill battle. Brian was then hit with another scandal when the press did an expose on a relationship that he had with a 16-year-old girl. This is legal in the UK, but is frowned upon. Again, he was hounded by the press, who photoed him in Bugs Bunny pyjamas when he opened his front door. Brian claims that he thought the girl was 18 years old at the time. East 17 continued on as a three-piece for a few months until manager Tom's contract expired. So Terry and John invited Brian back into the band, and they were complete again. Well, for a short time. Songwriter Tony Mortimer didn't like Brian very much, so he resigned from the band and they were a three-piece again. The trio rebranded themselves with the new name E17. In the 90s, E was slang for ecstasy in Britain, so it was an odd choice of name given what Brian had just gone through. E17 were a shadow of what they once were, and without songwriter Tony, they were dropped from their record label and split up. After it was all over, Tony Mortimer went on to write write songs for other artists and had a mental breakdown for 5 years. Terry Caldwell moved to Spain and opened up a bar. John Hendy went back to being a roofer. And Brian, well, the rest of this video is about what Brian got up to when the limelight faded. Mr. Harvey was now free from the restraint of a management team and could indulge the bad boy image that he had craved for years. In 1998, he would make headlines again after he attacked a reporter outside of a strip club. I'm guessing the reporter deserved it. Brian was given a £1,000 fine for this. In 2001, he was attacked by a group of men carrying what are described as sharp bladed weapons. There seems to be some confusion if they were axes, machetes or knives. This incident happened outside of a nightclub in Nottingham, with Brian being beaten and slashed. He was taken to hospital and given a skin graft on his head. Then in 2002, he was given 56 days in jail for harassing his ex-wife, who had taken out an injunction against him. Also in 2002, he was in court again for possessing and selling cocaine, but the court found that he was set up by the newspaper The News of the World in a sting that backfired. We will look at this case in a little more detail later on, as this seems to be integral to a plot by powerful elites to get him to take his own life, as he is exposing a child exploitation ring, or so Brian claims. In 2004, he appeared on a TV show called I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, with his most notable moment being an argument that he had involving a posh woman with large teeth. She was upset that Brian farted, and Brian was upset that she was upset that Brian farted. He left this reality TV show after 6 days. Brian had become depressed after the breakup of the band, and this hit a boiling point in 2005 when he attempted to take his own life. Again in 2005, Brian would become involved in a very odd incident. He ate 3 large jacket potatoes topped with tuna, mayonnaise and cheese, which was very filling. While driving, he opened the door of his Mercedes to vomit, as the potatoes were a bit too much for him. Then sadly, he fell out of his car and ran himself over. He was sucked under the wheels of the moving car and received very serious injuries, including a fractured pelvis, broken ribs and a punctured lung. He had a 5-hour operation to fix him and was wheelchair bound for a while afterwards, needing to be nursed by his then girlfriend, model Emma B. Brian hasn't eaten a jacket potato since. Being an ex-pop star doesn't pay the bills, and Brian, John and Terry now had very little money. So 10 years after the band split up, they did a reunion in the hopes of getting a £1 million record deal. They had seen once rivals Take That do the same thing with success, so thought that this could be their ticket back to the big time. There was one big problem though. Brian and Tony didn't like each other very much and hadn't spoken for the last 10 years. Plus Tony had become a millionaire from the songwriting royalties, so had no real need to do the reunion. At this stage, Brian was now living at his nan's old house and working as a plumber, and enjoyed washing his hair in the kitchen sink.
This is how I have to wash my hair.
John was still a roofer and Terry was back in England, living at his girlfriend's parents' house, sometimes working as a DJ. All 4 of them lived within a few miles of each other, but Tony was the odd one out, living in a large mansion. Sadly for Tony, money isn't everything, and things weren't all good in Tony's world. He had developed an eating disorder and agoraphobia, among other things, due to his mental breakdown. Tony was told by his psychic medium to reform the band, and he was in. That was the last piece of the puzzle, and the reunion was to go ahead. The band got together and started practicing, and things seemed to be working out well, but ex-manager Tom Watkins started to speak out against the reunion, saying that fans would be disappointed at how the band had aged, so they found it hard to get a promoter to put on gigs for them. Luckily, Tony was rich, so he fronted the band the money needed to put on the comeback gig in the hopes that this would get them a record deal. The first show sold out, with East 17 playing all the old hits and fans loving it, so things seemed set for a triumphant return. They even arranged a meeting with a big record company, so the band were starting to dream of world tours and screaming fans once again. But sadly, the old problems with the band started to raise their ugly head again. Brian still didn't like pop music, so insisted that at the meeting with the record company they play new edgier songs that he had written. This would cause discontent within the band, so a meeting was agreed so they could all try and sort out this hiccup. Tony arrived on time to the meeting, but sadly sadly the other three turned up an hour late. So when Brian walked through the door, Tony punched him in the face and the meeting was over. Tony then had the meeting with the record company by himself, which went well, but he neglected to tell them about the bust-up that he had with the other band members. Then unfortunately the bane of Brian's life would return to ruin this deal. The press released the story that the band were punching each other, which made the record company get cold feet and the big comeback was over. Brian, John and Terry went on to do a few small-scale gigs, but without Tony they faded into obscurity and broke up. The dream of once again being a famous pop star was now well and truly over, and Brian would start to spiral into some pretty weird places. He smashed up his East 17 awards as a way to get back at his ex-manager Tom.
East 17, 1 million sales. This is what it means. That's what I think of your music industry.
So it should by now be pretty clear that Brian doesn't like Tom Watkins very much, and his life would start to become consumed by his resentment towards his ex-manager.
Never sign anyone you fancy. And that was it. The boys next door are very appealing to a gay man. Unfortunately, what's between their two ears isn't so appealing. And as far as I'm concerned, never again.
So that's Brian's backstory, which is already pretty interesting, but not the reason that I made this video, if I'm honest. The things that are to come are the things that I find interesting about this story. We will now be moving away from the timeline to explore a side of Brian Harvey that most people don't even know exists. An incredibly dark look into the abyss of madness, or if true, even worse, a peek behind the curtains of power revealing corruption, abuse and some of the most disgusting things imaginable. Happy Christmas everyone! So, Brian started to go on one-man protests, turning up at all kinds of places such as some kind of town meeting giving evidence to them.
Well, the hard work of changing the law.
I'll show you the way up here too. You look waffle, we'll do nothing. I've got evidence here. Do you want it or not? Because if you don't want it, you clearly are not going forward. I'm taking down my dog like the space.
He has also been to 10 Downing Street a few times demanding to speak to the Prime Minister. He has done this to both David Cameron and Theresa May when they were in power, but sadly they didn't come out to speak to him.
Remember that you saw this, all of you, with your camera phones. Film it. It's real. See it now? You're supposed to act on it, but you won't, will you? It's wrong what you're doing. You don't do your jobs. Why don't you do your jobs? Why are you protecting her with guns? Yeah, because she's a f***ing criminal. That's why.
Huh?
Well, I'll tell you what, he needs to sort this out, because people ain't going to like him after this. Right, I need to talk to him. I've been up here 3 or 4 times now.
How do we leave evidence?
And this needs to be sorted out. This involves murder, child kidnapping, and telephone tapping and news international. It's not a joke, mate. I'm trying to do the right thing here. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be peace officers under the common law of the land. I need to talk to the Prime Minister. It's not a joke. I've been here a few times. They're well aware of me. This can't go on any longer, mate. My life's in danger. I can't make it any bigger. I can't make it any plainer. I can't make it any clearer. John Major done it, and you're not going to do it at all. You come out here and you talk to me. 22 million records, and I'm still a piece of shit. What does that say about you?
He has also taken this protest to Scotland Yard to talk to the Commissioner of Police. Sadly, the Commissioner didn't come out to speak with him.
What do I do, mate, to go in there? Can I just go in now? Well, why do I get to see the Commissioner then? Because it's like, yeah, it's all very well Scotland Yard, but if they're just going to keep people on the door to keep the truth out, I mean, that's no good.
Yeah, hopefully he's going to get someone down from the phone in there. Let's say you need to see someone.
I do need to see someone, because this ain't going on any longer. Wait. Excuse me. Oi! I'm talking to you. Go and get the Commissioner!
He also appeared outside of Prince Harry's phone hacking lawsuit against News Group newspapers. Outside of the courts, Brian can be seen holding a large printout while shouting. He really enjoys shouting, which we'll see a lot more of later. This large printout appears at most of his protests and is a copy of an email between the police and a reporter, which Brian claims proves that the police and newspapers colluded against him many years ago. There is a lot to unpack here and it's a little hard to know where to start, but in 2002 a 13-year-old girl named Millie Dowler went missing. This case was big news in Britain at the time, and it was later discovered that a News of the World reporter had hacked her phone messages, which gave her parents false hope that she was still alive. Sadly, her remains were discovered in Yateley Heath Woods. There was a large outcry against this scandal, which contributed to the closure of the News of the World and investigations about the ethics in British media. Brian claims that the same reporter involved in this hacking scandal is responsible for writing a story in which he claims that Brian tried to hire a hitman to drug his ex-wife so that he could take his child from her. This is the case that Brian went to court for and a judge labelled a sting that backfired. Mr. Harvey claims that this was done in order to intimidate him into silence. But what does he need to be silenced about, you may be asking? Well, dear viewer, this is where things get complicated. So Brian claims that ex-manager Tom Watkins had intimate relations with Tony Mortimer in exchange for the band being famous, and that Tony Mortimer didn't want these intimate relations, but just went along with it after the deed was done. Brian also claims that he saw all kinds of suspicious things involving the likes of Ghislaine Maxwell and people that looked underage, and that now a powerful group of satanic child enthusiasts are out to shut him up. Sorry for downplaying the seriousness of the allegations, but I need to choose my words carefully as we are on YouTube. This cabal of people have been doing things to Brian for years in order to get him to end himself, including the News of the World sting in 2002. There is a clip of Tom Watkins appearing on the TV show called The Word, in which he claims to have slept with all of the members of East 17, which is used as proof in Brian's claims.
Nice to meet you, old chap. Tom, you've actually said that you sell rather than pop music.
Absolutely.
So which one of these guys out of these 17 grabbed your eye the first time then?
Well, I slept with all of them initially, do you know what I mean?
Tom himself would later claim that this was just a joke. Brian also claims that Tom arranged the interview back in 1997 in order to set him up so that Tom could kick him out of the band. Brian also thinks that Tom was friends with Jimmy Savile.
The person you've just said is good. They're good friends with Savile as well.
Tom Watkins?
Yeah.
What, really?
Of course it would be, wouldn't they? A little bit of torture is always very good for ladies.
Young ladies.
Okay, so that's the first step on the ladder, but there's a lot more to this. Brian also claims that YouTuber Sean Atwood is working with an ex-policeman named John Wedger, who runs something called the John Wedger Foundation. This is an organisation which helps the victims of abuse. John claims that he was forced to retire from the police due to him exposing a powerful group of satanic child enthusiasts. Then we have a man named Bill Maloney who runs a media company called Pie and Mash Films. Bill was an outspoken activist against child enthusiasts and made a documentary about John Wedger's story. Then we have Ian Paddock, who is part of the Worshipful Company of Plumbers and really likes pancakes. Okay, so Brian claims that these people all work together and act as decoys on behalf of the powerful elite in order to discredit any victims that come forward. When Brian first started to talk about the things that he saw in the music industry, he started to work with Bill Maloney and John Wedger and claims that Ian brought him a camera. He then claims that these men set him up to try and make it look like he was trying to help child enthusiasts.
I said to him that, I believe, because he makes videos about him being hacked by News of the World, and from what he shows, I think he probably was. But unfortunately, the conspiracy to hack him 10 years ago, or whenever it was, by News of the World, now involves the Queen, me, you, and all sorts of nonsense.
Brian claims that Ian works for MI5 and that all of these men work for the New World Order. Brian did once confront Ian at a Sainsbury's petrol station.
No way, can I fill up?
All right, yeah, you can fill up.
Then we'll pull over and have a chat. But you're still welcome to go. Well, you're welcome to.
We might as well just have a quick chat now, Ian. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to take long.
That's right.
Yeah?
Let me fill up and then...
All right. In my heart, I believe you lot set me up
Such an effort.
You set me
effort
up
for
because
what?
I could have gone to prison for about 18 years for looking like I'm helping someone who's a yeah. At the end of the day, what's done is done, isn't it? What's done is done.
Can we agree to disagree? And I'm not angry with you or anything.
We can agree to disagree, right? But let me just say this now. From my point of view, you have been and are setting me up. Can this stop now?
Yes.
If you are doing it,
yeah.
Can this stop now?
Absolutely.
Brian also claims that a singer named Liam Payne, who fell to his death from a third-floor balcony, knew about this ring of powerful people, which is why he sadly fell to his death. We have only really scratched the surface of this conspiracy and will investigate it more as we go on, but for now let's move on to something a little more provable. A recurring theme that I noticed while researching this video is that Brian is visited by the police a lot more than you would expect, so I thought that we'd take a look at a few of these incidents. Something of note is that Brian believes that some of the police are out to get him as they are working for the elites and trying to silence him. One time the police came to his house with Brian being afraid that they were going to do something to him, so he threatened to hang himself if they came into the home, and then they threatened him with a taser.
Do not go near that. Do not go near that, okay? Look down at your chest. That red dot is from my taser. And that is 50,000 volts capable of being delivered through your body. But we don't want to do that, okay? We're here to help you.
Brian was arrested for this. Another time he had his house raided and his computers taken. Then another time he wrote on Twitter to the police about his fears of what the elites were going to do to him and asking them for help. As Brian was trying to get some rest from all of the unborn chicken voices in his head, the police sent 2 officers around to his house at 4:30 in the morning to talk about this. Due to the time of day that the police came to see Brian, he was concerned that this was in fact a trap and refused to allow them into his home. In fairness, it is a very weird time to send out people for routine information gathering. Then another time he was arrested for malicious communications.
They're here again, everyone. They're here again. They're here again. They're here again, everyone. They're here. Right, can you not touch these, please? Right, listen, you lot are freaking me out, man. What are you doing? I'm having a chat, but please don't...
Right, if you don't leave this, mate, let us in. We'll go and chat about it in your house.
No, you can't go. Why do you want to break in my house?
You're gonna be arrested.
All right, I'll be arrested, but why have you got to come in my house?
Let us in then.
Let me... I don't go... Right, listen, get away, get away, get away, get away. I will come with you, right? You have my word, but please move back from my house.
Okay, but we're going to stay this close.
No, you're not staying that close, because you're not coming in my house again. I will come with you. Why are you doing this to me, man? People, are you seeing this? Please, I need your protection, people. I need your protection, people. Look what's happening to me. Look how many people are here. Look how many people. What is this? Why are you doing this to me? What allegation of what? Malicious communication?
My colleague will explain.
Mate, are you not going to kill me? You're going to put me in prison and kill me, aren't you, for the Queen? You're going to put me in prison and kill me for the Queen. Yes, you are. You are. You are. I know, people. I know. Look at it. Look what they're doing to me. Mate, you are making me ill.
So one of the things with this story is that Brian never really lays out a clear case for his claims. A lot of his videos are just screenshots of people that you don't know saying things that you don't understand, but you know that it is something bad as it has sinister music in the background. So you have to fall down a lot of rabbit holes to understand what's going on. This arrest is one such rabbit hole. While being arrested, Brian starts to claim that the arrest is due to something he said to one of his online trolls named Sharon Gale, which then leads to a pretty dark story. So in 2001, Sharon's 10-week-old daughter died after a visit to the hospital. Then her husband was arrested and taken to trial for her death. He was then found not guilty, and Sharon claims that her husband was set up by the medical and political establishment. She claims that she was then harassed and threatened by the authorities, so she left Britain and lived abroad where she had another daughter. Years later, she came back to Britain with her daughter, who was taken off of her and placed into care. After her daughter was taken from her, she got drunk while doing a live stream, and Brian phoned her up and started to insult her, to which she starts to cry.
Bri, can you help me out here? Could you help me out here? my maiden name. You've got... Dare you?
So the keen-eyed among you may have noticed that Sharon has posters in the background saying that she stands with John Wedger. From what I can tell, Brian thinks that Sharon is working with John Wedger and Bill Maloney in the Decoy network. I'm unsure why he called her a troll, but it turns out that this incident with Sharon was not why he was being arrested. The arrest was because he insulted and doxed a non-binary person on his YouTube channel. Brian claims that he passed out in the police station during the arrest. The police are not always turning up to his home to arrest him though. They have been to visit him a few times to give him official warnings that there are credible threats to his life. The first time this happened, Brian refused to let the two officers pass the wheelie bin barricade, so they awkwardly delivered the warning by talking loudly at him. Brian and his followers would later claim that these two men were in fact actors due to the clothes that they were wearing and the fact that they didn't have their ID number showing. He was then visited again a short time later, and this time the officers were allowed to the window.
If you don't mind, I just need to film just for my own protection. Not anything against you, but for proof that what you're saying to me is real. So, sorry, can you just tell me what it is again that you're here for? Sorry.
Apparently someone's made threats to you.
Yeah.
On YouTube channel.
Right, and we're thinking it's coming from the truth-seeking music makers.
That's what we think. Yeah.
Okay.
You said you've posted comments on there.
I've only responded to them posting a video up, putting clips of my videos in, telling me how I'm wrong on something, and we we did slightly get into a little bit of an argument, but it was all.
Has anyone made threats to kill you?
Yeah, I've had one the other day. I've just reported it recently. It's why the police turned up here, except I didn't directly report it to them. I just put it up on Twitter. I must have sent 500 texts to
when did the police come?
Met Police over the past God knows how many years, and they end up responding at 4:45 in the morning on something that I didn't directly send to them.
Yeah. But when did the officers come round to report this incident?
Interestingly, the police officer this time is unaware that his colleagues had visited a short time beforehand. Make of this what you will. I also had a look to see who the truth-seeking music makers are, and they have a YouTube channel that, among other things, talks about powerful satanic elites. It's a little confusing why Brian keeps falling out with people that you would imagine would be on his side. On that topic, David Icke once reposted one of Brian's videos titled "Brian Harvey, Police State Walthamstow," which shows the police going to Brian's home to supervise the fitting of a prepay electric meter after magistrates issued a warrant for this as he refused to pay the electric bill. He didn't pay the electric bill as the bills came to the address in the name of Mr. H. Harvey. It seems that David and Brian had a falling out, so Brian made a song to mock David. And on a side note, Brian does a pretty good impression of David.
45 degrees. I made no conscious decision to do so. In my book, my books, I explain this in great detail. Next question.
Brian believes that the elites are always doing something to punish him or mock him in some way, such as holding an East 17 concert at the back of his house, or withholding medical treatment from him. He also claims that he is being bombarded with junk mail, which is a subtle threat as the junk mail is for things like getting cancer treatment or funeral services. Brian does seem to get this kind of junk mail more than you would expect, and a lot of the time the names on the letters are not his but people that he is close to. One of the reasons for this could be that Brian has a habit of showing these letters in his videos with the full address on display, and he has attracted online trolls, so this could easily be the work of these people instead of the elites. One of his most notable online detractors is a YouTube channel called Booby Doo, who posts clips of Brian's content, often in a mocking way. Another channel that Brian claims is a troll is named Paula Man, who seems like an interesting person in his own right. So Paula Man says the same things about John Wedger and Bill Maloney as Brian, and also claims claims that he is a prisoner in his own home due to threats against him. So you would think that him and Brian would be natural allies, but sadly Paula Man thinks that Brian is lying and that Brian is some kind of decoy. Brian has made many threats to expose Bill Maloney and John Wedger, but Paula Man thinks that he has never followed through with these as he is implicated in the crimes. So Paula Man makes exposed videos on Brian. On his YouTube bio it says that he has been camped outside BBC Broadcasting House since 14/11/2022 in protest against child abuse. These are the two main Brian detractors that I could find, but there are many more online. Brian's living conditions have been far from ideal, with him claiming to live with rodents, and the people providing his housing have left him without a kitchen for 7 years. One time the police came to see him. Again. For malicious communications. Again. Brian had said some naughty words to the people who are providing his housing because of him not having a kitchen for 7 years. The two police women seemed to be on Brian's side during the encounter, so he invited them in to show the kitchen, or lack of it. While they are in the house, he asked them to investigate him seeing Ghislaine Maxwell in a nightclub with someone that he thinks was underage over 2 decades ago. He then shows them all of the junk mail that he has been getting as a threat.
And then I'm getting emails every day. They're really trying to destroy me in my mind. Cancer packages, Golden Charter, do you will. They're death threats. They are death threats. These are death threats what I'm getting. Right? Reese is dead. He was my best mate. Over the phone hacking. Right? This is what I'm saying. Sharon Gale, she was an online person, another troll. All this lot, all of it. Nikki Lee, that's my carer and my partner. She's getting it. They're doing it to anyone that I've ever spoken about. Blood cancer.
Oh wow. Oh, there's a lot. Yeah. He's a lovely Harvey.
Brian also claims that he has been locked in his house for the last 12 years due to his fears of Rupert Murdoch being after him, and that his best friend was due to his phone hacking case. Brian claims to suffer from bipolar, depression and anxiety, which can lead to him acting very erratically sometimes. So let's move on to some of the public outbursts that he has had. After many years of waiting for healthcare due to the car accident that he had years earlier, Brian had finally had enough, so he went to the doctors to sort them out.
Yeah, get your security ready. Yeah, get your security ready. Get your security ready, yeah? Because I tell you now, man, I am not being back by this fucking borough has done all for me, but I put no, you tell him to come out here and talk to me. I'm not getting palmed off on the phone. Yeah? You get him out here. And enough of this bullshit. Yeah, as soon as someone speaks up and that, you start getting security on you and that, yeah? What, because of your lot's cups? I've got to have security on me because I'm upset over getting no help from this fucking so-called place. 30 million records. Who put Walthamstow on the map? Me, yeah? And this is the fucking treatment you get. You ain't got to worry yourself, bruv, yeah? No one's throwing no punches here, yeah? When I had a crash in 2005, there was a fucking ball in the street, right, who leered over me when I had my car accident. A Waltham Forest Cup. Who was in charge of that? Dr. Lawrence? A fucking ball. 2 weeks later, he ate his mate's brain, Brian Cherry, right where I had my fucking car accident. That was over me, talking about he was a nurse. Is there anything I can do to help? And he run off. 2 weeks later, he ate Brian Cherry's brain in his flat where I was had my car crash next to. Yeah, it's fucking mad, isn't it? Almost makes you feel like, hang on, did you fucking plant that? Now, do you know what I mean? So I know these people work hand in hand with each other. Yeah, look at this, yeah, look at that. 4 years I've had that hole in me. It popped on a live on fucking YouTube 4 years ago. Where is this? Get him out here now! Right? Lawrence! Get the f*** out of here, you About, oh, would you like to go on holiday, Brian? Yeah, I would if my life weren't in danger, you little Now f***ing get out of here! Don't f***ing fob me off, mate, and don't bother calling the f***ing police either, because they don't do their job. Phone tapping! The murder of Minnie Dowler! It weren't Levi Belfield, and you fucking know it! You fucking lying c***s. Get the geezer out here now. If you're calling the fucking police, I swear. Have you called the police?
So as is the tradition with the Brian Harvey story, he just casually drops a piece of information that then leads to another rabbit hole. So it appears that during his car accident, a wanted to devour him. Serial killer Peter Bryan is a real person who did eat Brian Cherry, but was already in Broadmoor Hospital, having pled guilty to 2 counts of manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility. Brian's accident happened on the 31st of May 2005, and Peter Bryan was sentenced on the 15th of March 2005. Or at least that's what the internet tells me. Brian is on disability benefits due to his car accident, but also had problems with the benefit office, so he went down there to sort them out.
Right, so it's Brian Harvey. I am just at the minute at Selborne Walk Underground Car Park, as you can see, and I'm going to the benefits office, Walthamstow, Westbury Road. I'm loaded up with all the evidence. I'm loaded up with the police death threat videos, previous letters from the DWP where we're reviewing your benefits. Like it's come to the point of enough now. I've had enough of this. So I've come down here. Obviously, I'm a little bit digi, you know what I mean? Because I'm going to be, aren't I? I'm going in now, and I ain't taking no for an answer. And I'm fed up with being bullied, so stay tuned and we'll see how this goes. All your faces go in the paper, yeah? Make sure all your faces go in the newspaper, yeah? Watch. Come here a minute. She just said you just obstructed her. Can you explain yourself, please?
I'm not allowed in the building, sir.
No, but you turn around, sir. You turn around and said you don't have to go outside.
Yeah.
You're
not allowed in the premises.
Can I have your details, please?
Yeah, can I have your details, please, sir?
Can you stop filming me?
No, I can't stop filming now. Can't stop filming now. I'm filming now. You're going live on YouTube, mate, yeah? But you want to kick me out? You want to take my life away, brother? Is that what you want to do, yeah? Is that what you want to do? You're all going in the fucking newspaper, do you understand? Yeah? What do you mean wasting my time? Who are you fucking talking to? You wouldn't have a job here if it weren't for me, paying fucking tax on 20 million records. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck the lot of ya. You're nothing. Bullies and fucking murderers, mate. Bullies and fucking murderers is what you are. Go and step to me, mate. Fucking step to me. I fucking dare you. No. I fucking dare you, mate. I fucking dare you. That's it. You fucking little. Go inside. You fucking. All right, come. Because, mate, the lot of ya. Q.
Brian has made videos where he shows that he only gets between £100 and £200 every 4 months for his time in East 17. He has also made videos claiming that he spends £45 a day on Uber Eats, and has done this for many years, which adds up to many thousands of pounds. He does this due to him being a prisoner in his own home and not having a kitchen. Brian doesn't like it when the Uber Eats drivers are late, so he goes outside to sort them out.
Is that Uber?
Yeah.
Yeah, why did you turn the tracking on 30 minutes later?
No, because they have 2 orders.
No, but when you leave the shop, you're supposed to give me the tracking. You never give me the tracking. Why do you Uber drivers keep doing that? You leave the shop, it's like you go off and do other orders, and then you turn the tracking on.
I have 2 orders.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You should tell me the tracking when you leave the shop. Listen to me.
I work in the Uber system. It's not the system.
It's not the system. Now I'm expected to pay £22 for cold food.
No.
Yeah. Think about me. Because there was no tip. Listen. No. You listen. Because there was no tip, you didn't bring to me first.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I have 2 orders.
Yeah.
Listen, this.
No, what?
This. Don't.
I'll break your fucking face.
Yeah, why you make
Because you're telling me lies. Because you're telling me fucking lies. That's why. And I'm not going to keep putting up with it.
It's not working out to you. I breed you.
You don't touch my fucking phone, bro.
Yeah, don't
touch
why
my fucking phone. Because I'm fed up with your That's why. I'm reporting you to the police. Yeah? You're getting reported to the police. Do you understand? You don't take people's phones out of their
Now I make it video for you. I breed you your order.
You make video, you bought my order, you put the tracking on 30 minutes later, yeah, when the shop's at the top of the fucking road, yeah? You grab my phone out, mind, you're getting arrested. Do you understand, mate? Do you understand you're getting fucking arrested?
I give you your order.
Yeah?
I give you your order. What you do? What you want to me? What you want to me?
You don't touch my fucking phone.
You touch my
fucking Uber driver. You do not touch my fucking phone. Do you understand? Do you fucking understand?
Okay.
Yeah, go on, yeah. Go on, you record me, I'll record you.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're going to be the one getting in fucking trouble, you little prick, yeah? Don't ever fucking deliver to my fucking house again. Yeah? Yeah.
More.
Yeah. Don't ever deliver to my house again, you piss taker. Bet you come in with it fucking 30 minutes later. Yeah? You put the tracking on directly, straight away. You don't go and do 5 other fucking deliveries because I didn't give you a tip. You said I'm giving you a fucking tip. You fucking dickhead. Don't ever fucking deliver to my house again, you fucking little. You're getting reported now. Kid.
Brian is also in contact with his local MP who is trying to get to investigate his claims about Tony Mortimer, but she tells Brian that Tony would need to be the one who makes the allegations in order for them to be investigated. So Brian joins Zoom calls to sort her out.
So don't tell me that nothing can be done, Stella. Right? I'm not going to listen to that. I told you about this in 20... No, let me speak. No, let me speak. You keep talking over me.
No, I'm sorry, you keep talking. I'm trying to explain to you because I
No, you're trying to get out of it. You're trying to get out of it. I've told you about all of this, Stella. I've told you about 10 years.
How the law works, Brian.
Yeah, well, I told you about it 10 years ago, and it seems to me like you're dancing around some subject. You're doing the same thing to me again. You're not going to help me. I know you're not going to help me.
Brian is still trying to talk with the Commissioner of Police with little success, so he travels to Scotland Yard to sort them out.
You annoy me because there's nothing you can do about it, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm going to hang about it.
But there's nothing anyone here right this second.
It's Scotland Yard, mate! For fuck's sake! No, get out my way, man. Get out my way. Get out my fucking way. I've had enough of this. Right, are you going to get the Commissioner or not? Because now you've called the fucking police on me, and you're the ones that are acting illegally, mate. You're the ones that are acting illegal. Illegal! Illegal!
Listen, right.
Don't keep touching me, mate. Don't keep touching me, please.
Brian makes videos where he decodes media to show the satanic undertones that are laced in the slop consumed by the masses. He will break down small moments such as an East 17 music video where you get a brief glimpse of 3 dice, with the number 6 showing on the faces.
There you go. Look at the dice. Top one on the side, 6. Middle one on the side, 6. Bottom one, 6. You see it?
This could very well be added to the music video as some kind of sinister message, or if you add up all of the front faces, 6, 5, 6 equals 17, as in East 17, or maybe it's all just a random coincidence, hard to know for sure. He has also done a breakdown of a jumper that 90s singer Peter Andre wore, claiming that these symbols are on the FBI list for known child enthusiast symbols. On the topic of Peter Andre, Brian claims that Peter owes everything that he has to Brian.
When me, Terry and John went and done the Born Free concert, right, a little while back, that was the last show we done with Tony, and that'll be the last one that ever gets done, I'll tell you that now, right? When we went and done the Born Free concert in the Royal Albert Hall, right, all the patrons of this charity were there. Tony's one of them, Peter Andre's one of them, and Rolf Harris is one of them. Yeah? There you go, say no more. Yeah, but now Peter Andre wants me to go on his show. No, I ain't coming on your show, mate. I ain't coming on your show and getting stitched up. And I'll tell you this as well, Peter. When we done our first tour, and you was put on our tour, Tom Watkins wanted to kick you off it. He wanted to kick you off it. Who kept you on that tour? Me. So the bird you're sitting next to, everything you've got, the relationship you had with Katie Price, all of it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't have kept you on that show. Yeah, it was me. You wouldn't have nothing of what you've got now if it weren't for me.
Brian's ex-girlfriend Daniela Westbrook pops up again in the story. She has stated that Brian was the only man that she truly loved, and that Tom Watkins threatened her into ending the relationship with Brian, quoting him to say, "It won't end well for her because he always wins." She says that this is one of the main reasons for her spending £250,000 a year on cocaine, which made her nose implode. The pair reunited briefly in 2015 in a campaign to help children. Daniela stated in a YouTube interview that Brian is not mad and that he is doing the right thing when referring to his quest against the elites.
Were you ever threatened or anything to keep your mouth shut? I've had a lot of that stuff done to me. I've been taken out of my house. Yeah. When I was with Brian Harvey, I got taken out of my house. And he came home and he never saw me again. It was a very, very tough time. Very tough time. And it's made Brian really ill. And luckily, Brian was never... But there was a price on his head. And I was getting married to him. And the people that had the price on his head, they wanted him in that circle. And they thought I'd tell him what I knew. So they took me out of the picture for a long while, put me somewhere that I shouldn't be, and I had to sign my house and everything over to him.
Yeah, because I know Brian speaks out even now a lot.
And people call him crazy and utter, he's not.
Yeah.
He's really not, and I've got a lot of love in my heart for Brian, always will. And all he's trying to do is the right thing. And he gets threatened and abused by people.
Do you think that's because of what he's seen with you?
No, it's because he's trying to do the right thing and out these people that have hurt people close to us, myself included. And luckily, they never got to Brian.
Is that what
but he did lose his job when he was 17 because of it.
That's what they do, though, discredit you.
Yeah, and they've made Brian a prisoner in his own home, and it's really sad because I know what Brian's doing is the right thing. People can call him crazy and say he's ranting and everything else, but I know what he's doing is the right thing.
Sadly, Brian suspects that she was involved in the attack on him outside the nightclub in 2001, as the people that attacked him were from Liverpool and Daniela sometimes goes to Liverpool. He also thinks that she is working for the elites in exchange for a career in media. The pair have now had a falling out.
You're not special and you're not different, love. Right? You ain't. And MI5 are not on your case. I don't know how you think that. You're like a paranoid coke freak, right? Which I used to be, where you think everybody's at your door as MI5 and they're going to come through your door for something. They ain't, Brian. No one's listening. That's why you've got like 30 people listening to your rant on slandering my name when I'm coming on here talking about getting well, 12-step programs. It's people like you, right, that put me back into relapses, right? But you're not going to do that, right? He thinks I've got convictions. He's on there saying I bought MI5 to his house and stuff like that. Mate, what am I, Miss Moneypenny? Mate, you need to get the hell out of your front door. You're fully live having a breakdown on YouTube, crying, sobbing.
Brian falls out with people a lot, and his ex-bandmates are no exception. He claims that no one in East 17 speaks out about what happened to Tony due to them all being forced to sign an NDA agreement. Brian has also recorded a call that he had with John Hendley, then posted it to the internet. This call seems to confirm that something did happen with Tony and Tom, and that Tony broke down crying to them once about this. But also John says that he thinks that Tony did the dirty deed with Tom willingly.
Don't you think everybody's thinking the same thing? A lot of people.
No, not after what they done to me, mate. Not after what that fucking set up. All because we found out. You was there, mate. He fucking broke down. You saw him. Do you think it... Right, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not leaving that. No way. No way.
But what I'm saying, this is why I rang you, bro, because I know everything you're saying is true.
I know you know.
I'm saying this, but listen, bro, yeah? I know we've, like, you know, we have problems all the time. Mate, leave it all, bro. You know
I'm not leaving, John, I'm not leaving nothing, mate. Yeah, I'm not leaving nothing. Watkins know what he done. I'll tell you another thing.
Yeah, but we all know what he's done, bro, you know what I mean? I think Tony done it willingly. I don't think he was drugged and I think he knew what he was doing, bruv. You remember that day when we was in Tom's place and we went into the swimming pool? He jumped in the swimming pool with nothing on.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing on.
Yeah.
That's not right, bruv. You know what I mean? We're talking about boys from the street, ghetto and all that, you know what I mean? Not saying we're ghetto or whatever, but you don't jump in the swimming pool with nothing on. But that was his choice, bro. You know what I mean? It's like me, you and Terry, yeah? We choose not to do that, you know what I mean?
Brian has also shared other calls that he has had with John where John talks about the predatory behaviour that he encountered in the music industry. John was unhappy that Brian had shared these calls with the world, so made a video to confront Brian.
Well done, Brian. Yeah. Once again, posting things about me, yeah, without my consent. Yeah. You recorded me without me knowing, yeah. I told you something, yeah. Nobody else knows, yeah. And you just posted that today, mate, yeah? One more thing, Brian, yeah? You carry on posting about me, yeah? Mate, I'm just going to report you to the police, mate, yeah? Do you know what I mean? You're just a fucking lowlife, mate. That is scum, mate. Yeah, stop it, yeah? And all this, I'm a p***hole. I'm a p***hole, I'll protect her. What? Because I told you about someone said to me, if they touch my willy, they're going to give me a gold ring. Mate, that's nearly 40 years ago. No one even knew about 40 years ago, mate. So just stop it, yeah?
To try and make things right with his ex-bandmate, Brian did the only thing that a good friend could do and shared more private calls between the two.
I don't know.
You do know?
Special branch.
Special branch came to see all three of you and all three of you denied it. I've been told.
Listen, Brian, yeah? I got police come round, yeah? And I sat in a car with them, yeah?
Yeah.
But obviously, I didn't speak too much. You know what I mean?
Well, with friends like that, who needs enemies?
Brian, you're going to end up getting fucking bruv.
I know I am. I told them that. I told them that.
Why do you want that, mate? Just to be the bigger person.
Because that's what I'm doing, and I'll fucking stand up to them. I don't give a fuck, mate. They want to kill me, they know where I live. Walthamstow, E17.
Nowhere, mate. It's not getting you nowhere. This is never going to end with you, bruv. It's never going to end.
Good.
Don't get too involved in what you're doing and what you're saying, but I know certain things you are saying are correct, bruv.
I know, and I know you know, and that's why I've never...
Mate, the government and all that, mate, you can't beat the system, bruv. You cannot beat it.
John, I'm not alone anymore, mate. There's a lot of people behind me.
So that's how things are going with John. Now on to Tony. Brian now thinks that Tony wants him dead. And when the Christmas hit Stay Another Day was re-released, Brian took this as a sign that they were going to come after him and said that if anything happened to him, he didn't do it himself. There seems to be a lot of bad blood between the pair.
You right, Tony, are you? With your millions? You all good? Money you earned off me singing your shit songs? You all good, are you? Good, good, good. Good, good. Good. That's good. It's good you're doing well. Good you're doing well. Yeah. Fucking drop dead. Fucking drop dead. I hope you choke on all that fucking money. Drop dead. Drop dead. Drop dead.
So the only one left is Terry. He has reformed East 17 with 2 new members, and they are still active to this day. Brian had these words of encouragement for his friend.
No one cares about your silly group, mate, because I ain't in it. Yeah? Sorry, but that's just fucking life. Yeah? No one cares about your fucking band.
Brian says that he regrets his time in the band and that it was a waste of the best years of his life. The Brian Harvey story was a lot more interesting than I was expecting. Someone left a comment suggesting that I look into it, and I was looking for a festive video for Christmas. A video about powerful elites trying to take out an ex-pop star is about as festive as this channel will get, thanks to the person that recommended Brian to me. So I guess the big question is if Brian's claims are true. The honest answer for me is that I have no idea, sadly. Brian doesn't make his claims easy to follow. His videos a lot of the time are him talking about people that I've never heard of doing things that I have no clue about, and it's been tricky for me, who has spent a long time researching him, to get the story straight, so I would guess someone just stumbling across his channel would be totally lost. I know a lot of the time the people I make videos about watch the videos, and if you're watching Brian, I would suggest a documentary style video where you just lay out the case in chronological order without getting distracted with lots of little side quests. Brian doesn't help his claims as he acts like a madman sometimes. Screaming at Uber drivers and government employees really doesn't help his case. Plus he seems to always fall out with people that you think would be on his side. So these things among others would make me think that he's lost his mind a bit and that we are just watching a public meltdown. But on the other hand, if what he says is true and he has undergone decades of psychological warfare, then you would expect him to act a little crazy, I guess. That's the paradox of the story, really. If he is crazy, then he has the perfect excuse for all of his crazy behaviour. And if he is telling the truth, then the elites have the perfect excuse of him being made to look crazy. If Brian is correct, then he is truly a good man standing up against the kind of odds that most most couldn't even dream of. But if he is incorrect, then he is a wrecking ball destroying the good work of others who are trying to do good things. The problem is that he can't just be dismissed, as time and again the world shows us that these kinds of powerful elites do exist. From Diddy to Savile to Epstein to pretty much every single person that has ever worked for the BBC, these kinds of things do go on and they are covered up for years. And these are just the ones that we know of. On the topic of the BBC, Brian has had a falling out with them, as they copyright struck one of his videos, but then used clips from his YouTube channel in one of their documentaries. They then sent him a cheque as payment, which he ripped up as it would affect his benefits claim. On his time off, Brian has been building bikes to keep busy, and he has a girlfriend who also acts as his carer named Nikki Lee. She has a parrot with its own YouTube channel. Brian has also made many songs since leaving East 17. My personal favourite is one called Checkmate. I would actually go as far to say that it is the best middle-aged conspiracy rap song about satanic child enthusiasts that I have ever heard. And that's high praise, as that's my favourite genre of music. All jokes aside, it's not a bad song actually. He has also released his own version of Stay Another Day, which is free online to listen to. When I make these videos, the fans of the people that the video is about always think that it's some kind of hit piece, when this is never normally my intention. I'm normally just reporting on something that I think is interesting, but in this particular case the whole video has been one big hit piece. So if our overlords are watching, I would like to be bestowed with riches now, please. I could really use it this time of year. I'll even get all Tony Mortimer with one of you if that's what it takes. That was obviously just a joke, and I do actually feel kind of sorry for Tony Mortimer in all this. If what Brian says is true, then I'm sure that Tony would just want to forget about it by now, but let's hope that what Brian says is in fact not true. I think my favourite people in this story are John and Terry. In the interviews that I've watched, they seem like normal working class lads who got handed a wild ride for a few years, then once it was over just went back to being normal working class lads. I guess the fact that they were never the main attraction helped them in the long run, as I would guess that a large part of Brian's downfall was his sudden disappearance from the limelight and him trying to make sense of such a drastic change in such a short amount of time. So that's about all I've got to say with this story really. Let's wish Brian the best with his life and hope that he stays away from jacket potatoes.
It does hurt me when I look on the internet and I read certain comments from people that haven't really taken the time to understand what's going on. You've looked at my face, think you know what I'm about, and it frustrates me because people really don't know, and they really don't know me or what I'm like at all in any way, shape or form. Like, no one knows. And my mental state, I've been vulnerable for quite some time, and that's not easy for a person like myself to have to come out with and explain themselves to a load of YouTube viewers, but I feel like I should. I feel like I should, because I'd rather people know what I'm thinking than not know, because I am getting fed up with being judged on people thinking they know me. I don't sniff gear, I'm not a drug taker, you know, you've just got this image that you believed from the newspapers, and I'm not like that. I'm really not. I'm trying to do a good thing here. I'm trying to defend myself and my home, and at a time when, yeah, fair play, everything's falling apart. Some of it may be my fault, some of it may not be. Do you know what I mean? That's not what's going on here today. What is going on here today is I am sick to death of utility companies harassing people, and Southern Electric have been done for this many times before. I mean, they've even been on Watchdog.
Watch this video about Owen Benjamin and his fall from grace. Hope you all have a good Christmas and New Year. Thanks to the channel members and the Patreons, and bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.